Have you done any of that for your own company? Meaning building an AI that knows your company better than you know your own company?
I see people do that. They're like, oh, I dump all my SOPs and people and just like try to train this AI. And I'm like, I can see the value in doing that. But my problem with AI is I don't think it makes good decisions yet. It's trained on a massive internet existing data. And what it spits back tends to be the average. So if your ideas are below average, I think it pulls you up to average, but I don't think that it gives you unique perspectives. So that's one problem. So that's why I didn't do it, because I was like, well, if I upload all this, like, is it going to give me a unique perspective on business? I don't think so.
So you don't do any offline LLM usage, offline AI usage, so that nobody reads your conversations?
I'll like occasionally use incognito.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm sure that stuff still gets, dialed into me and processed.
I mean, like let's say, so I just had wrist surgery, right?
Yeah.
And like I'm trying to get organized. I hit my out-of-pocket max on insurance and all this stuff. So I like wanted AI to help help me organize all this information. I can't give that to ChatGPT.
Yeah.
They don't need to. So that's where an offline model comes in.
Oh, I see. So you're gonna like
so like I can use AI,
like a Mac Mini, build your own little LLM.
Already done. Yeah.
Already done.
Well, I mean, anyone can do it.
Right.
Anyone can do it. Yeah.
I've seen.
It's actually really simple. You can use off the shelf. There's a project called LM Studio. You can just download it and then install any model you want. They have like a directory. It'll download to your computer, and then you can like have your own private offline LLM experience.
But is the LLM as good as like Opus?
No.
Or okay.
No. But for a lot of times you don't need it.
Right. Yeah. Sometimes you don't need like a powerhouse.
Right. I mean, for work, I'm still doing.
Right.
Still doing.
I mean, it's kind of like Google. Like Eric Schmidt came to I saw a highlight of him talking one time. This is like a decade ago. And he's like, dude, we know who you are, where you eat, where you work. He's like, and that's just from like, like what your interests are. Yeah. I mean, it was like crazy. And that's just from like, you wake up, you put your destination in Google Maps, right? And then like, it's pretty obvious you keep going to the same place 5 days a week. That's your job. You know what I mean? So it's just
we know this as advertisers. Yeah. The level of specification that you could select on anyone is mind blowing.
Yeah. So it's like, that was like 10 years ago. I'm like, I'm sure ChatGPT or Claude will know people better than themselves someday.
Totally.
And be able to manipulate and Skynet us for sure.
Have you done any of that for your own company? Meaning building an AI that knows your company better than you know your own company?
I see people do that. They're like, oh, I dump all my SOPs and people and just like try to train this AI. And I'm like, I can see the value in doing that. But my problem with AI is I don't think it makes good decisions yet. And what I mean by that is, one is that it's trained on a massive internet existing data. And what it spits back tends to be the average, right? So if your ideas are below average, I think it pulls you up to average, but I don't think that it gives you unique perspectives.
For sure.
So that's one problem. So that's why I didn't do it, because I was like, well, if I upload all this, like, is it going to give me a unique perspective on business? I don't think so. And then two, I also eventually it should get good enough that it does. But at that point, it'll be probably easier to upload all my shit. Like there's a lot of work involved in setting all that up and building it. You know what I mean? Like going and pulling all our SOPs, et cetera, and plugging the AI in. So I see that as the future, but I think I'm going to wait.
As the owner of an Amazon-based agency, how are you personally using AI?
For me personally, or my team?
For you?
For me? I think for me, number one, it's staying on top of the changes with Amazon. So I use it to pull marketplace pulse, pull the forums, figure out what people are talking about, what's happening, so I can stay abreast of things. It's really good at knowledge capture and then summing it for me.
What's your AI of choice right now? Where are you doing that?
Yeah, Claude Opus 4.8 is my go-to. As of yesterday, Fable.
So you open up Claude and you just simply say what's the latest on marketplace pulse? What's going on? And what are you looking for? Just trends, consumer trends, seller trends.
Yeah, I try to keep it pretty open. Like I've got a project where it's got like a little bit of background and obviously it has some history. So it has an idea of, or it knows what we do at AmpliSell. So in general, it actually brings back some pretty relevant stuff. Like the big thing was the title changes, right? So that came through my feed or my little AI feed, which is Amazon cutting title changes down to 75 characters, which is a pretty wild change in of itself. But yeah, that's how I'm using it.
So you found out about, you kept abreast of this change by simply, you'll go to the chat and you'll ping it and say like, what's the latest for my recommended resources?
Yep.
Amazing.
And then like deep research it and just let it run. And you can set that up to run every day if you have co-work, right? I don't, but that'd be like a cool thing to do too.
Yes.
Yeah.
So agreed, like keeping on top of things, very valuable. Have you found that you do that daily, once a week?
I said daily, but honestly, I'm probably doing it like once a week, realistically. Because it's like, all right, like, let me make sure I'm on top of shit.
So like, let's take this title change process. Like, did that make its way into your company knowledge base? Like, how do you get that information to everyone on the team?
Yeah, good question. So number one, I'm going to pump it into Slack, to our general Slack channel. If it's super important, I'll add the channel, so make sure everybody sees it immediately. The title change was a pretty big one, right? And then it goes to Brady, our head of performance, brand performance. You met him. And he'll pull it into our knowledge base. So we have like a running knowledge base. And then because that one obviously impacts the design team, right? Like the design team, our head of design, Camila, will pick it up and be like, okay, as of July, I'm going to get the date wrong. I think it's 22nd or something. Here's how we got to be doing it. And then they create a plan for like, okay, well, what do we do for all the thousands of existing listings that might get changed? So then we got to create a plan for that. And then
how do you ensure, so you said that you took it from there into a Slack channel. How do you ensure that the Slack channel gets read?
That's a good question. I like, as a manager, I kind of go between like micromanaging and staying hands off. Like there's that balance. And so on some level, like I want to rely on my leaders to be like, okay, I gave you what is very, at least to me, clearly important information that we're going to have to iterate on. Here it is. You do the necessary changes and I trust you to do that. I don't say, okay, update the SOP, go to, create a project plan to update all of our clients, et cetera. I don't do that.
Is there anyone, so I'm very fascinated by like agencies in general.
Yeah.
So I guess the other question too is like, if you post that in Slack, it's like a fine line, right? Like you just mentioned it, you're not telling them exactly what to do. Go update this SOP. But I guess what are the checks and balances of ensuring that it actually is like getting done? So like the person who's actually like changing titles, how do they know? Because I think that's a very common theme in the digital marketing world, small business world, where it's like new information comes in, like especially digital marketing, everything's always changing.
Yeah.
It's a rapid pace. Like how do you ensure that the person who's pressing the keyboard like knows that information that started from like you getting your Claude digest?
Yeah.
Like how do we ensure that gets done? I'm very curious by this question.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think for me, my two key leaders, like Brady, my head of brand performance, Jeff, my head of operations. I think I've communicated with them a lot about how I like to operate. Like I want to say like, hey, you have these objectives, these clear objectives. I want you to go and get them. I don't care how you do it, of course, within ethical boundaries. But like, let's continue to meet and update me on how you're getting to those. And then I'll help you, if and where possible. And so for something like that, where it's like, okay, I dumped key information into the Slack and, people respond to it, I at least make sure they see it and respond. At that point, I'm just basically resting on Jeff, my operations manager, to put it into the SOP and Brady to put it in the knowledge base. And then Jeff is working with Camila, our head of design, to ensure that the designers know. And so, yeah, like it's a good question. I don't trace it all the way down to the last person. I just don't think, maybe this is too strong opinion, but I feel like if you have to, then you haven't put good leadership in place. Because let's take worst case scenario, right? Let's say that we make no changes to how we do things. our clients are going to fall behind revenue-wise, and we're going to churn clients. And so like, Brady and Jeff both have OKRs, or basically key objectives around like client retention, minimizing client churn, client growth goals. Like we have really high standards for how much growth we want to deliver for clients each month. And so it falls like that's something that's going to be captured in those. That would be kind of delayed, right? I would hope it wouldn't get to that point. But I think at the end of the day, like as long as you stay focused on those and you hire good people that know what to do beneath that, to deliver on that, then I think you've got to go hands off, because there's so much other shit I've got to do, right? Like I'm here recording with you, which is a lot of fun.
You know what I think is interesting? So I don't know, and you probably have this experience too, and people on your team have this experience too. I think I have a unique glimpse into this because I see hundreds and hundreds of accounts on our platform. And what I would say is that I don't think there's a single agency ever that like you ask them like, hey, what are your standards for like optimal PPC performance or whatever? Like they'll tell you, and then not all of their accounts all the time, but like periodically like things slip through the cracks where it's like, oh, like I remember a couple of years ago, I was in a room of like Amazon agencies and I asked them like, during your PPC audits, how many of you do a wasted spend check? Meaning like you just download a sourcing report, you say orders equal 0. What is that? Like how many people do that? Like everyone did it.
Everyone raised their hand. Everybody,
Of course, right? Wasted spend check. And then I this was years ago, then I asked them again, like 6 months later after working with a client, how often are you checking wasted spend numbers again? And it's like no one, like maybe a couple people were like, oh yeah, like that's a number we track. But like you have to go out of your way to do it. So I think it's really interesting. Like I think about this concept a lot, like an audit-proof marketing campaign, like an audit-proof account, like something that you can, as an agency, sit there, or even if you work at a brand, you can sit there and know that anyone could audit this account and it'll be like pretty good. Now I think you get into the realm of like, you could find improvement in any account at any time. Like, so like you could do any account at any time can be improved, of course. So it's not like optimization ever ends, an account is never perfect. But what I'm saying is like, there's things that I think any agency, like I think about it in terms of like churnable events, like fireable offenses, like something that someone would churn out. And the reason they would cite is something like, I didn't get contacted enough, or like felt like the agency wasn't keeping up with changes, or like it's too expensive, or like not enough return. Like there's some reason, and sometimes the reasons are like, I think maybe the technical work isn't as good as it should be because I got this audit and it said this thing. And I feel like a lot of times, like I see it a lot where like sometimes things slip through the cracks. And I think it's really hard to pin down. And like one thing that goes through my head is like, how do we use tooling? Like how do we use software, AI, so on and so forth, to avoid those events? Where it's like, how can we build a system that like does that? Because to my initial question, it was like, okay, some change happens in Amazon. It's like you post it in Slack, maybe the team talks about it, and then it's like updates in the SOP, and then like the last step is of course like checks and balances. That's something I think about a lot too, like checks and balances, like ensuring that the things that we say that we want to do are actually being done and actually like valuable and like worth doing. So that's where I think a lot about like these automated checks. So that's why I asked you about like AI brain at the company. That's something I'm really fascinated on. So like it's almost like easier to do with simple things where it's just like any KPI that you'd ever want to track can now be tracked. So it's like response time. Like how quickly do we respond to clients? That's like a known thing. And I feel like there's a cool opportunity for like AI to like check that KPI for you. If it's out of bounds, like send you a message. I think that's like a unique thing. That's been my concept for like AdBadger for a really long time. Like software in general is like, imagine you had a junior person on your team who just like handed you the report of information you wanted to know, similar to what you just said. With like getting your news. So like I love that like full feedback loop, and I think a lot about that over the years. Like, and now with AI, I love the idea that you can like spin up something to like go and get the numbers and like bring them back to you and like tell you the report. Like the report is just waiting for you. I absolutely love that. So like ensuring quality is like something I think a lot about, because there's so many things to do in digital marketing. There's so many things, and helping. One thing that I like to do is like, I want to help people like not have these things that they probably know, like, oh, I should be doing that. I should be doing that. Like even solopreneurs, like managing their own Amazon marketing, like they feel it the most because like they know there's so many things to do and like, you know, they're doing everything themselves. So it's like they know that there's these cracks. So like sort of completing that full optimization loop is something I think a lot about.
Yeah. And you made a really good point about sort of leveraging AI as a junior person to sort of review and deliver the report for you so you can take action. And that's something that my team is doing at AmpliSell is we have an AI that we're running against our accounts, kind of like what you're talking about, and auditing the accounts on an ongoing basis. Because to your point, everybody does an audit, or every agency does an audit account before they start on the account. And they say, here's your wasted spend, here's all these other issues. But like you said, nobody ever does it again. Right. And so Brady on our team came up with the idea of like, well, we're running these audits, let's just keep running them on the accounts. And then let's have the AI run it because it can pull the reports, it can bring the it can build it can pull the data and build the report, and then the ad specialist can act on that. So we just started doing that, and that I think has been really powerful towards your point of like making sure that stuff doesn't fall through the cracks. Right. Because like this might sound kind of hokey, but in my ideal world, like a client works with us or somebody comes and works with us, like they work with us forever. Like I don't know, like it's my business, it's very personal to me. And so like getting fired sucks, right? Like when a client's like, I don't want to work with you anymore, I hate that. And so like we have some pretty crazy goals around like client retention and stuff like that I think like, well, like why not, right? Like if we do a great job, of course, everybody's going to make a mistake somewhere, right? But in general, if you can keep the mistakes to a minimum, and then when you do make a mistake, own it, fix it fast, and iterate from there, I think that like people stay with you forever. And for me, it's like, yeah, that helps me grow my business, of course, but it also like, I don't like getting fired.
Yeah.
I take it way too personally, man. You know?
Yeah. It's funny. Yeah. Like the thing that we're building right now is like basically like an ongoing audit of someone's account where you like get a score, and it's like all the things that you would look for in an audit, like match type performance and like your breakout of like, are you too over indexed on any one particular thing, or like your best keywords overshadowing your worst ones, you know, those kinds of things, like what's your waste and like how you track that. That kind of thing is like, I think it's great. Like you just have an audit proof account. I think that's like phenomenal.
I like that. That's like also a great marketing term too. You should be like audit proof accounts.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah.
So you're using it to get that digest. And I would dare say like you then use that digest and turn around and do something pretty cool with it, which is like feed it to your team and give them new information. And I assume you've already had conversations with them about like, because you know, you sort of mentioned it, like they sort of know like as this new information comes, like they need to incorporate it.
Yeah.
You know, you mentioned something too. I feel like in this world where you can get so much information so fast and like everything's changing and like prioritization is really difficult. So like how do you decide what gets dropped into that Slack channel and shared with the team?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think kind of to your point, what's going to matter in the future is knowing what to work on, because like you said, we are just, I mean, this has been since the internet, right? We've had just a flood of information. And like, I think the people that I see succeed and be successful are working on the right things, and that's all they work on. And they do a really good job of that. And so I think that comes back to sort of like hiring independent thinkers who can bring unique perspective and are like, hey, this is what's important, that's what's important, and trusting that they know what's important to work on to drive results. And so for me, like I leave a lot of that responsibility on my team, but then I'm like the feedback loop. So it's like every week, like I'll meet with my leadership team and be like, okay, what are you guys working on this week to hit your OKRs? And they're like, okay, I'm doing these things to hit my OKRs. And then that's my opportunity to be the feedback loop and be like, well, I don't think working on that's going to help you hit your OKRs. Or, you know, however I can help them be like, okay, if you do that, I'm going to need to help you by doing ABC. And so for me, that's kind of like where that feedback loop comes in.
What's a typical OKR at your agency?
So like objectives, almost always like I talked about earlier, like increasing client retention, right? So like client retention right now is probably about like 19 and a half months, right? How do we get it to 24? right? How do we, client growth goals, we tier it, right? Because like not every client is going to see dramatic growth. Some will see like 20%, some will see 40%. Then you've got your skyrocketers, which are doing 200%. And so we kind of want to say like, okay, we want every client to be hitting at least 25%. And then every client, and then our top tier is hitting 45, 50% or whatever. And it's like, okay, how do we keep pushing that number up? And then that comes back to your point of like, well, there's a lot of things you can do on Amazon, but what's actually going to pull, drive growth there?
Right.
And so then those would be like objectives, and then key results, might be like, okay, client average growth for tier A has gone from 45% to 50%, something like that.
Do you ever feel like goal setting is a tricky thing to do with clients? Like, you mentioned 25%.
Yeah.
Was that year over year?
Yeah, just year over year.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like 25% year over year. Do you ever struggle with like clients being unclear about their own goals? Like 25%, what? Volume, profit, ROAS, ACoS, total ACoS, net revenue, like all these different figures. How do you bridge that gap between like what's possible and like what a client is thinking?
Yeah. Every fucking day, man. And this was like the hardest lesson I had to learn at AmpliSell was like early days, 8 years ago, it's like, okay, I'll just take on anybody. Let's grow your account. Right now, when we bring people on, it's like, we're lasered. It's like, what do you expect? And then they'll be like, oh, we want revenue to grow. And I'll be like, okay, well, how much? And they'll be like, this much. And I was like, okay, well, how much can I spend to get there? Right. And then they'll give me some margin information. And they'll be like, okay, let's say I spend all that money and let's say I hit your revenue goal, but your net profit margin goes down by 10%. Are you okay with that? No, I'm not. Okay, let's talk. So for me, I'm trying to nail them to the wall on a revenue goal, a margin goal with an ACoS limitation, and any other factors that they might care about, right? Like a new product launch, like does that have to be done? And then being very objective about going back to them being like, okay, here's how we're progressing to your goals, and just coming back to that every time. And then if they want to change them, that's fine. But then going through that same exercise again, it's like, okay, well, why do you want to change, right? Like what has changed in your business overall that this needs to change, which is fine. But just, we want to be very intentional about goal setting and capturing all the factors that the client cares about and then driving to that. That I think is the number one way that we succeed as an agency on behalf of our clients. Because if I let a client come in and just be like, oh, I want to drive revenue. I'm like, okay, great, we're going to get started. And then they're expecting 100% revenue growth. We're thinking 30% revenue growth is great. Then that's like, then we have a disconnect and they churn, right? They're not happy, we're not happy. So it's like, you got to nail, maybe this is like a bad way to say it, but I feel like I got to like nail people to some goals.
Totally.
And I think too, around expectation setting, right? Like, I think most of the people that we work with, like 80% of them have reasonable expectations. We sit down and like, I'm like, well, what kind of revenue numbers do you think you can hit? They're pretty smart people most of the time. And they're like, yeah, we can hit these numbers. Some people have like crazy expectations. And then it's usually just about resetting that. It's like, okay, well, you wanted 2x growth, but okay, but you're telling me I also can't spend any more on ads, right? Like it's stuff like that. You kind of gotta, but that doesn't happen much anymore too either. I feel like most people we work with are pretty like, I get it.
I feel like at this point, the obvious question is like, what is the highest leverage activity to do right now? I'm going to ask the opposite question, which is, what is the worst mistake that you would say Amazon sellers are making? What's the worst idea? What's the worst mistake that people are making in 2026?
Okay, I've got one that I'm going to split into two parts. Cool. Okay, and it's going to be not killing bad products soon enough, and not getting new products to market. What's that dude's name that runs Ridge the other day? He came out and he had like an X post about it. And he's like, how many wallets am I going to sell to one person? They're going to buy one wallet, maybe another one as a gift. But he's like, I got to go find something else to sell these guys. And that's like, I see some e-commerce leadership that's at companies. It's not always their fault, but it's like, you got to be going back to your product team and being like, look, we need, bring me more product to market.
I feel like this is so true. I would say it's like, it's not causation. It's definitely highly correlated.
Yeah.
But like the highest growing companies on Amazon are like doing product iteration really well.
Constantly.
Yeah. And like the hardest situations to get into is like where someone's like trying to squeeze juice out of a rock, where it's just like, oh man, I've had this product for 6 years and like it's exactly the same and I'm plateaued or declining. It's like, dude, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, this is our hero product. It's been our hero product for 10 years.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, it's a miracle you got it to 10.
Like, seriously.
Yeah, we need Hero 2.0 tomorrow.
Right. Like, I mean, think about it. Like, you walk into a Walmart.
Yeah.
Like, and then you walk into a Walmart like 3 years later, like, you're going to see different stuff on the shelves.
Totally.
Yeah. And so I think like I concur. That's like I'm going to be like the Subway podcast guy. 100% agree.
Yeah.
Do you know that?
Yeah. Subway takes.
Yes.
Love that guy.
So yes, I think that's so true. And like, it's really hard to tell people, I find sometimes, where it's just like, they're like, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Like, what's wrong with my PPC? And I'm like, maybe nothing.
Yeah.
Like, maybe it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, the bigger issue is like, my favorite place to go if somebody wants something to do is like, you can go to Product Opportunity Explorer, type in the niche, and I've said it on the show maybe 25 times. Go to Product Opportunity Explorer. It'll tell you for that niche what the average number of launched products is, like per 90 days, like 365 days. It's like never zero. Like, there's new products introduced on any like search result page all the time.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's only a matter of time before a competitor introduces another product competing for that same hero keyword that you have. It's going to chip away at what you got.
Yeah.
It happens all the time.
Yeah.
Like, you take something like water bottles, like Stanley mugs. Like, if you were to go back and look at like insulated water bottle, insulated water bottle, like 5 years ago, 7 years ago, 2 years ago,
6 months ago even,
and now, like, it would look completely different. Like, I think that's a great example because it's such a boring thing. It's like, is a container, you put water in, you close it up and you take it. It's like, how much more could there possibly be?
Yeah.
And the answer is like, there's endless iteration. And it's like, that is like the biggest. I agree. And that's become a lot more apparent over the last few years, I feel, as like maybe customers get more selective or like features change or what trends change. But I feel like that's always been true.
Yeah.
So I agree. That is definitely the biggest mistake. Just like people like rolling up, I got my product line and that's it. That's like a huge mistake. Yeah.
If you look at like a company, like one of the biggest Amazon sellers, Anchor, right? Like, they just started out with a power bank.
Right.
You can look at Anchor's catalog now; they sell you fucking everything, right? Anything that electricity runs through it, they sell it. You know, and it's like they're a beast, and that's you know,
it's like
it's the same thing. Power bank category. How much do you think that changes? You plug it in, you get juice out, right? Like,
yeah. So I would say that's absolutely like a huge misstep that a lot of brands make, and it's not even like. It's not even like a setting or like misconfiguration of anything inside Amazon.
Yeah.
It's really just like fundamental e-commerce, right?
Yeah, it's true. When you think about it, it's just fundamental, you know, you're building products, you're selling products, you got to build new ones and sell new ones. But it's just something that I feel like gets missed a lot. Like, are we thoughtfully iterating and bringing new products to market consistently and probably on a faster timeline than you think you actually need to?
Right. I would say, like, I don't know the numbers, but yeah, a lot of successful people that I talk to, they're like calling their bottom 10% and they're introducing new ones like all the time. All the time, relentlessly. Like, they don't get emotionally attached to a product if it's not performing. They just like let it go.
Kill it. I love those clients. Those are our best ones.
For sure. And it's sort of like, sometimes I'll get into conversations where a brand is very passionate about their product line. They're very passionate about it, and they can tell you the story about it. And then it's almost like Shark Tank, where the shark is like, well, what are your sales? And they're like, well, they're not good. And it's like, your story doesn't matter, unfortunately. Or like, you haven't packaged it exactly well. So it's like, you know, the endless pursuit of product market fit is something that the most successful people are thinking of.
Yeah, it never changes. I mean, you even think about, like, as an agency, on the flip side, right? Like, I'm running your Amazon channel. I'm not doing the same shit I was doing 5 years ago. If I was, you know, you'd be getting crushed, right? Like,
it's a good example.
It comes back straight to that AI thing. It's like, hey, product titles changes. All right, what are we going to do? Are we going to keep making money for our clients with this new thing? So, you know, GPT, it's funny on that note, when GPT first came out, I was like, this is going to kill copy. or this is going to crush for writing copy. Copywriters. Yeah, I was going to kill copywriters and crush it for copywriting. And I remember like using it like day one. We were like, all right, let's start leveraging this in. And clients would come back to us and push back a little bit and be like, hey, this kind of reads like, did you guys actually write this, or is this AI? You know, I don't like using AI in our copy and stuff like that. And I got it because some of the copy wasn't bad. We were trying to be very, you know, forward thinking, right?
Yeah.
And so we obviously modify it, make it better, and push it. But now clients are coming to me and being like, hey, are you using AI? I want you to use AI because I wanted to go, I want more. I wanted to go faster. Same thing with images. You know, now they're like, hey, are you using AI on all these images? Because I want like 50 more images this month. So it's like their perspective is completely shifted.
Totally.
But imagine if I had been like, no, we're never using AI. We're just going to keep doing this because this is our hero product. I wouldn't be sitting here.
Great points.
Yeah.
So on the flip side, I agree that's the biggest error, the biggest mistake that an Amazon brand can make. What would you say is the highest leverage activity for an Amazon brand to make today?
Oh, this is a tough one because I have two instantly come to mind. I'm going to tell you two instantly come to mind. Number one is advertising, and number two is off-channel marketing. And there's a two really like...
I was going to say the exact same thing.
Different directions we could go. Let's do off-channel. So... one of the things that I've seen shift in Amazon over the last 8 years is you used to be able to win on Amazon just on Amazon.
Yeah.
I could launch something and just win on Amazon. Now, if you want to win on Amazon, you have to be winning off Amazon. You have to have Meta running really well. You've got to have your Google ads dialed in. You got to get on TikTok and start launching TikTok. All of that shit drives to Amazon, and Amazon behaves far more like a demand capture engine than a demand creation engine. And so with our clients, like I'm constantly like, we're constantly checking in with like, okay, how's Meta doing? How's Google doing? How are your other channels doing? Because that's going to impact Amazon performance heavily. You know, it's not everything, but it definitely like...
it's the same thing. It's not causation. It's like just heavily correlated, I think.
Huge. It's crazy.
I would say it doesn't necessarily cause success, but it's just like a brand that gets their stuff together to succeed off of Amazon, which I consider harder than Amazon because it's, you know, just like you said, it's like demand generation. You're generating demand off of Amazon. So like I think that's generally harder than just like catching the ball that's being tossed to you. It's like, okay, if I can just get in this Amazon ranking, then like the ball will be tossed to me and I'll get a certain percentage of sales. Whereas like going off of Amazon and like running meta campaigns, or like, can I like actually like interrupt what people are doing who are not searching and like coming and getting my product? Up funnel is always harder to do than bottom of funnel, right?
Totally agree.
It's the same kind of thing. It's like, I think it forges a brand to like, because again, it's like, do I understand my customer enough to interrupt them in a social feed and actually like get sales from it? Like, do I know my market enough of like what to serve them, when to serve it to them, what's my funnel, what's my sequence to them? I think that's a much harder thing to do than just like catching the ball in an Amazon search result.
100% agree. You know, and like when I'm working with clients and stuff, I mean, like we added TikTok, you know, and we've been doing TikTok for clients, and that is just such a different game than Amazon. It's like night and day. So I would agree with you. I think that's harder to do, that demand gen. But if you're skipping it, you're skipping out on something that you mentioned, which is so important, which is product market fit, right? I think a lot of people, myself included, as business owners, we want to lie to ourselves, or we can lie to ourselves and be like, I've got the best product on market. And if you go out there and you try to generate demand for it and there is none, the market's telling you it's not true. So we can tend to pull back and avoid doing that because that's going to force a reality. Same thing with me, like, right? I run ads, nobody clicks on my ads. It's like, well, shit, nobody wants what I'm selling. I thought we had the best Amazon agency out there, right? Yeah. But it's like, well, either I can't communicate it or we don't actually, right? And so it forces me to iterate and get better at one of those two things. Same thing with, like you said, top of funnel. It forces you to face some hard truths about your product or brand that you might not want to, but like you said, you have to.
What do you think for an e-commerce agency, Amazon agency, whatever?
Yeah.
If an Amazon agency or e-commerce agency is listening to this, what do you think the biggest mistake likely is that they're making right now?
I don't want to give this one away, but I think under communicating with your clients. That's when we get new clients from other agencies, the number one thing I hear is like, I didn't really know what was going on. I didn't understand what was going on. And when I say communication, it's not just like, hey, I'm sending this dude an email every day or this person, this lady an email every day. It's, do they understand? Does the client understand what you're trying to get and understand what you're doing and why and buy into it? That's what I mean by communication. That if you can nail that and nail it as a process,
what's your team's communication stack? Like, how do you engage and interact with your clients?
Yeah, so we're doing, meetings, of course, because people like to feel seen and heard.
How often?
Usually weekly, sometimes bi-weekly. Usually bi-weekly with our longer term clients that we built a lot of trust with.
Bi-weekly meaning every 2 weeks?
Yeah, twice.
Got it.
Yeah. Sorry, like every other Monday. Yep. So that tends to be like longer term clients.
If you wanted to be fancy, you could say fortnightly.
Fortnightly?
Yeah.
Yeah, no shit?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to start doing that.
Yeah.
That's just going to confuse people. Coming back to the communication thing. So number one is meetings and giving people an opportunity to feel seen and heard, right?
Yeah.
Like you gotta, that sounds like therapy, but you gotta listen. Like, hey, have your goals changed? How do you, how's it going? How do you think it's going? Like, give me feedback. Active listening. So number one, repeating back to people what they say. This is gonna be a master class, but I just feel so strongly about this. So like getting them on a call, making them feel seen, making them feel heard, repeating back what they say, and then tying all of that to an objective, for lack of a better word, goal, or tying it back to our objective goals. So number one, that, and then number two, we're reporting weekly, but it's not just like throwing somebody a report, it's throwing the why. So you can send them a bunch of data. I get reports from the agencies that we hire, and it's like, I'm going to look for like my 3 numbers I care about. And then the rest of it's just like, right? And if my 3 numbers that I care about are not going the direction I care about, I want them to tell me why. And so we try to do the same thing for our clients. Like, hey, here's the numbers that we should be tracking and that we care about. Obviously, here's some other information if you got to pass it on to other people on your team. 1, and then 2, here's why these numbers matter. Like if we're tracking below, why? And what are we doing to fix it? If we're tracking above, why? And how do we do more of that, right? And I think that if you do that, I think clients will stick with you forever.
Agreed, yeah.
It's just like...
What do you think is harder for an agency communication or like the actual like marketing for the client, like the service or the communication?
I think client management, so to speak, is the hardest thing when running an agency of any type, I would guess. We do Amazon and TikTok, and we work primarily with e-commerce leadership. So I know what those people are like, but I would say like managing them is the hardest part of running an agency. It's nothing against them, because you got to put yourself in their shoes, right? Like they've got to report up to a board, they've got to report up to the CMO, and they've got different stakeholders with different competing goals, right? The CEO is like, hey, why aren't we on TikTok? And you're an e-com and you didn't even get a budget for it this year, and you're like, well, I didn't get the budget, so then you got to go to the CFO and see if you can carve out some budget. So it's like understanding those people intimately and putting yourself in those shoes. So it's like if they come to the call frustrated, if they come to the call with changing goals, it's not like they're always quote unquote being unreasonable, right? It's like, well, they've got competing stakeholders they've got to please, and thereby we've got to please, or at least enable our people to please.
Good
thought about this is something I thought about a lot, because like I said, it all comes back to I don't like getting fired. I take it personal. My wife would tell you, every time it happens, I'm always like, I go talk to her about it. I'm like, baby, we got to talk. I'm a failure. We lost a client.
It's tough.
It's really tough. Yeah.
Do you guys do postmortems if you do lose the client?
Yeah, we try to. One of the things that I find with postmortems is like nobody wants, or very few people fire you and are assholes about it, right? Or at least that doesn't really happen to us much anymore at all.
Meaning a postmortem with the client and a postmortem internally.
Yeah, so like a postmortem with a client. Presumably you go to a client, you're like, okay, you fired me. Why did you fire me?
Yeah.
Right? 99% of the time you ask that question, they're going to just say something like, oh, you know what? Budget shifted.
Generic. Yeah. It's hard to get good feedback.
Yeah, they're going to give you something vague because they want to be nice, right? They don't want to be a jerk. So what we try to do, so I don't get a lot out of that. More so the postmortem happens internally of like, okay, we were setting these objective goals. Did we hit them? If we did, okay, great. What then we usually look for was there a new person or a new stakeholder that entered that had competing goals? Almost always it's something shifted internally at the company that basically drove it. Like a new CMO came in and had an agency that they preferred working with, right? And they brought their agency in. Stuff like that. So those kind of things, like I still don't write them off because I'm like, well, why are we not BFFs with that CMO? How do we, why do we not so now when new stakeholders come in, I try to get them on a call as soon as I hear about them coming in. Because a lot of times you won't even know, but it's like, oh, you hired a new CMO? I want to talk to them. Let me talk to them, right? Because I want to know what that person's goals are that they're going to push down.
Right. I like the mindset, there's always going to be some things technically outside of your control, but it's like, well, why couldn't we control it? Why couldn't we influence it?
Yeah.
For sure. And then so you do a postmortem. I would say it's difficult to get feedback along the way too. Do you send out surveys to your clients to get feedback? Do you have any kind of pulse check? I'm asking for my own ideas too of getting feedback, letting people know how hard you're working for them. These are hard things to do.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Man, that is a great question. I have a strong opinion on that. So, and I could be totally wrong. So I think that, what's that score that everybody likes to use? Where it's
how likely
will
are
you refer me?
NPS, Net Promoter Score. How likely are you to refer me to your mom?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think for agencies, NPS is bullshit. Because number one, nobody wants more time taken out of their day, right? And so number one, you're asking a client to do something. Number two, it's almost always a binary thing. Well, I guess I generally think it's yeah, we like you, you're doing a great job, things are going well. There's, we love you, everything, we fucking love you. Everything's going awesome. We're so glad we partnered with you. And there is, we're unhappy, we're going to fire you, right? It's really those three. And so I kind of that's kind of where we sit. I want everybody to be in love with us, right? And I never want anybody to be firing with us. Sometimes things are going to be going just okay because of things coming back to it internally, their best product went out of stock. They're not going to be happy. You know what I mean? We're not happy either. Sales, it's not our fault. Sales start to lag. And that's kind of that scenario where they're sitting in that hey, you guys are fine. We're not, super stoked, but it's not really your fault. We're not super stoked. So I try to get them all the way up into 3 whenever possible, but understand that we'll bounce between 2 and 3. But you never want a 1, right? Where they're we're unhappy, we're firing you. And so, the other question you asked was, well, how do you know that? And I think for me, it's I will randomly just call clients out of the blue and just be hey, John, how's it going? Or hey, James, how's it going? Just and just start talking to them. I don't want it to be hey, I'm here to survey you on the phone. It's just hey, how's the wife? How's the kids? Just building relationship with people and then opening up a space for people to tell you how they feel. Because they will, right? If you call them and start talking to them and stuff like that, if they're pissed, they'll tell you they're pissed. If they're happy, they'll tell you they're happy. You can obviously steer the conversation that way. But then I encourage my brand leaders to do that as well. So Brady to just hey, get on calls with clients, And so we have a little cadence where we'll just randomly call clients and check in.
One thing that I've been thinking of a lot is using AI to do checks and balances.
Yeah.
Scanning all your emails, scanning all your calls with a particular client, and then doing
a pulse check. I love that idea.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. So you could just be hey, Claude, read all my emails with client, with John, and give me a
pulse check. Yeah. So we do that internally with
I love that.
Ad Badger customers. We know what pages they've looked at, what tools they haven't used, and we're able to contact them
That's
and be
smart. Yeah.
Hey, you aren't rank checking any keywords. Don't you wanna?
Yeah.
Here's why you should type thing. It's been great.
That is awesome. That's really brilliant. I love that idea, especially with the page navigation, because you can see what they're using and what they're not using. I wish I had something like that for the agency world, right? That's really smart.
Right. Just sentiment. Sentiment analysis of what is this person feeling? What are their, that's a known thing. And you just have to tell it to check the emails.
That's smart. I'm going to steal that.
Right
100%.
Amazing. Josh, it's always so nice to link up.
Yeah.
That you drove from Houston today to Austin.
I drive from Houston to Austin just to meet with you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on, dude. You were I think you have the best podcast in Amazon for sure. Far and away. It's funny because people come back to me and they're hey, I heard you on Ad Badger. Wow. I love that podcast. I think that you have the best guest. You always get good things out of people. You're great at interviewing people and just peeling useful information out of people. You're a great listener. I just think you crush it. So honestly, it's a privilege for me to be here.
Someone told me one time, first of all, thank you.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it. Thanks so much to everyone for listening.
Yeah.
Someone told me the other day they went on some other podcast and they're man, that guy was such a jerk. He was it's almost he wanted to live fight me on the show. In
you want to wrestle? Should we wrestle?
In the Amazon space. They, like, you know, just like wanted to argue with me on the show. I'll let the listeners guess who it was.
I could see that probably for like views. I feel like that's probably the thing now, right? Like you need some drama. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sorry guys, we're just trying to help you get better.
I'm pretty chill.
Yeah, no drama here.
I'm pretty chill. Drive a Subaru Outback. I'm pretty chill.